March 1971. In the heart of Seoul, South Korea, stood a towering symbol of modernity, the Tae Yun Kak Hotel. At 22 stories tall, it was one of the highest buildings in the country at the time, a luxurious destination for locals and foreigners alike. But on one tragic morning, the pride turned into a nightmare. A fire broke out inside the hotel, spreading faster than anyone could have imagined. In a matter of minutes, thick smoke, searing flames swallowed the entire building. Guests were trapped, rescue attempts failed, and by the end of the day, 163 lives were lost. This is not just a story of a fire. This is a story of neglect, of overlooked warnings, and of a nation forced to confront the dangers hidden inside its race towards progress. Welcome to Building Disasters, and today we're uncovering the tragic story of the Tae Yun Kak Hotel fire. The Tae Yun Kak Hotel was more than just a hotel. It was a statement. Completed in the late 1960s, it stood in Jeonggu, Seoul, and it represented South Korea's ambition during a time of rapid economic growth. A towering structure made of concrete and steel with more than 200 rooms, modern design, and a popular rooftop restaurant with panoramic views of the capital. To many, it seemed like the future. But behind the sleek facade was a deadly flaw, a lack of proper fire safety. There were no sprinkler systems, no smoke detectors, no fire system materials, and worst of all, no dedicated fire escape staircases. Fire prevention had simply not kept up with architectural innovation. It was simply a disaster waiting to happen. On the morning of March 26, 1971, Tae Yun Kak Hotel was bustling with activity. Guests were waking up, prepping for the day. Staff moved through the hallways, tending to their routines. But no one knew what was coming. At around 10:30 a.m., a fire broke out on the third floor. Investigators later traced this to a short circuit in the refrigeration unit. But that one spark was enough. Flames quickly caught on to the combustible materials, wood paneling, carpeting, wallpaper, all of which lined the hotel's walls. The building's ventilation system, stairwells, and elevator shafts acted like a chimney, drawing the fire upward with terrifying speed. Within minutes, smoke filled the upper rooms. The power went out, and panic set in. Guests tried to flee, but the hallways were dark, the exits were confusing, and the heat was unbearable. Some people trapped in the rooms smashed windows for air. Others gathered on balconies or the rooftop waving for help. They waited, but help wasn't coming fast enough. Firefighters arrived quickly, but they faced a heartbreaking reality. Their equipment simply wasn't up to the challenge at that time. South Korea's tallest fire truck ladders could only reach the 8th floor, but the majority of people were trapped far above that, on the top floors and the roof. With smoke rising rapidly and fire continuing to spread, those trapped had to make the impossible choice. Some attempted to escape using improvised ropes made from bed sheets. Others wrapped themselves up in towels and jumped from the balcony, hoping to survive the fall. But few did. Dozens of people were seen standing helplessly on the rooftop, screaming for help. But there was no helicopter rescue. Not because they weren't requested, but simply because none were available at the time. Some survivors recalled the terrifying moment when the ceiling above them collapsed or when they saw others leaping to their deaths in desperation. In the end, 163 people lost their lives, most from smoke inhalation, and another 63 were seriously injured. The blaze raged for over 6 hours. The destruction was absolute, and the sorrow immeasurable. The aftermath. The fire shocked the nation. For many South Koreans, it was the first time they had seen such a large-scale disaster unfold on such a public stage. News footage of black smoke pouring from the building and the charred bodies being carried out haunted viewers across the country. An investigation followed. However, the findings were quite grim. The building's construction had ignored critical fire safety standards. There were no proper escape routes, the materials used inside were highly flammable, fire drills had never been practiced, and the emergency response system was woefully under-equipped for high-rise rescues. Public anger mounted. Families of victims demanded answers. The government, under intense pressures, promised reforms. This tragedy became a turning point in South Korea's building history towards safety. In the months and years that followed, South Korea introduced sweeping reforms to its building and fire codes. These included mandatory installation of sprinkler systems, fire alarms, fire-resistant construction materials, and clearly marked escape routes in all high-rise buildings. The fire also led to major investments in emergency services, getting better equipment, taller ladders, better trucks, more training, and the eventual development of aerial rescue capabilities. Architects, engineers, and builders were now required to incorporate fire safety into every stage of planning, with new hotels and commercial buildings being rigorously inspected and old buildings being retrofitted. The country had learned a hard lesson, but it was one that would go on to save countless lives in the years ahead. Today, a few people outside of South Korea remember the name Tae Yun Kak. The hotel no longer exists. It was demolished after the fire, replaced in time by other towers and symbols of the city's progress. But to those who study building disasters and to the family of the victims, the Tae Yun Kak Hotel fire remains one of the darkest chapters in the history of urban development. It serves as a solemn reminder that progress without safety is not true progress at all. That beneath every shining skyline, there must be symptoms that protect life and not just celebrate success. And that is all for today's video. Thank you all for watching. If you found this video insightful, do not forget to like and subscribe, and you won't be able to miss out on our next deep dive into another tragic and eye-opening story from the world of architecture and engineering, as well as aircraft investigations and ship sinkings. So, what disaster should we cover next? Let us know in the comment section below. And remember, every building has a story. Some are built to inspire and some to warn.